Hello, I am Dawn Westmoreland, and I'm coming from Asheville, North Carolina, the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains, hailing from WPVM FM 103.7, the voice of Asheville. My show is called The Empowered Whistleblower, and it's about blowing the whistle on tactics that can help make the workplace better. When you think of workplace, you might think of working for somebody in a company, but the workplace could be as an entrepreneur, as an employee, as an employer. So we're all about having a better workplace. You can hear my show every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. And because it's syndicated, you may also hear it at another time. I'm so delighted. I've just gotten to know Damon Pistulka. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Kind of find out, he lived and grew up in South Dakota. I was an Air Force recruiter in South Dakota, mostly, the Rapid City area, but extended out way out into the ranches. And I don't even think they call them farms. I mean, out there, it's like thousands and thousands of acres. One thing that I learned about Damon is he has powerful insights and guidance on mindset. And to be successful, we do have to have the right mindset. So I welcome you, Damon, to the show. It's an honor to get to know you better and hear what you have to say today.
Yeah, thank you. I'm real excited to talk with you today, Dawn, and happy to be here.
Yes. Now, you started out, and I know a little bit about you, on a ranch.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
ranch
we
with
had a family farm in
animals.
southern South Dakota.
Yes, over 1,000 acres. Then you went to college, become an
Mm-hmm. Yep, I got a
engineer.
mechanical engineering degree and started working for manufacturers right while I was still in college.
Mm-hmm. But
Yeah.
today, tell the listeners what you're doing today. It's quite a bit different than being on a
Yeah, it is. It is. As I got progressed through my engineering career, I realized I enjoyed leading people. And that led me to ultimately leading facilities for companies and then companies themselves and running companies. And I did that for a number of years. And now what I do is I help founders really craft the business of their dreams by putting together the teams and the things that they do to really build the businesses that they dreamt about when they got into business. Everybody wants to have more freedom and more money, and we really try to help them solidify what that means to them in their life and really the impact that they want to leave for themselves, their community, their families, and we help them get there with a lot of help. So I do the same thing that I was doing running investor-owned businesses, helping grow value and making them run well with those founders today.
That's quite a journey you've had, Damon. Now, let's talk about mindset. Did you have a certain mindset to go from leaving a family ranch to engineering to manufacturing to now helping these big manufacturing companies, build their companies and then sell it at great profits?
I'm when we talk about mindset, I'm a late bloomer in this. I really am. Much of my well, quite honestly, up until the last decade or so, most of my success was due to just hard work. That's what I learned growing up on a farm. It's like, if you have animals that need to be fed, it doesn't matter if it's cold. It doesn't matter if you feel like it or not. They need to be fed, and you're going to get up and do it. I was taught that from an early age, and that really carried me a long ways. But what I didn't realize is that there is so much more to our lives and our minds that if we understand this earlier, we can lead a much different life. You can start anytime. That's the good thing about it. But when you really start to understand the mind, and I have talked about people like Dr. Wayne Dyer, and there's so many others that through their readings and teaching and other things, you really begin to understand how our minds work. I think that's one of the first things. And when I learned that, yes, hard work is important, but it's not everything. It's really about working on the right things and taking the right risks and seeing the right opportunities. And when you look at success in business today, people talk about positive mindset and all that. If you don't, I mean, that to me is just like a a ticket to entry. If you don't have it, you're not getting in, right? Because I don't see how people can be negative and be successful in business or life, really. Without, and when I say success, I mean that holistically, like happy people and really, really enjoying life, and the kind of people that you want to go in, and when you see them, you feel good about seeing them. And that really led me, when I started learning about mindset, I realized that my mind shapes so much of my world around me without even knowing, that I really needed to step back and understand what my mindset was, go back to the core value. When I say I grew up, the hard work had got me where I was, it was because I thought I had to worry about everything. I had to worry about everything. So I spent the last 20 years of working, or not 20, but decade plus of working, where I was chronically sleep deprived, because you'd wake up in the middle of the night, your head would start spinning. Oh, what about this? What about this? What about that? What about that? And inevitably, you just don't sleep very well when you do that. And that was something when I was when I was 32, it took me to the ER because I thought I was having a heart attack. And these kind of things are not, they're not trivial, right? And when you start to understand about mindset, you start to understand how our mind works, you realize that a couple things. One is, we are much better at solving our problems than we give ourselves credit for.
Oh, that's powerful.
And I read it again the other day, and it is so key, right? Because I remember, thousands of nights waking up. Oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Now, none of those things killed me. I'm still here talking to you today. I got a house, a wife, kids, car to drive, food to eat. Why do we let those things bother us like that? Why don't we if we know how our minds, and it's just been a fantastic, mysterious, crazy journey for me on mindset, because when you understand and you listen to, again, Wayne Dyer, any of these other people that you, Neville Goddard, there's a whole list of people that have studied the brain and how it works. And even back to the old one that people like to talk about, Napoleon, that talk about and dispute, Napoleon Hill. You look at these people that thought about success, and they talk about mindset and attitude, and then you figure out how the brain works, and you go, okay, we can control how we worry about things, whether we choose to worry about them or not. It's not easy, but you can. And when you start to really think about mindset, and you go, okay, first of all, I need to wake up in the morning. And this is a simple example for me. I wake up in the morning and I thank God that I woke up. Do it every day. Even when my body's aching, I wake up and I say, thank you. My body's aching because I had a good day yesterday. I'm not feeling quite as well. Thank you. My eyes opened up. I'm going to make this a great day. That one thing has made more good days for me than I can't even begin to imagine. I can't even count them, right? And when you think about mindset, we go into business and you meet people in business and you go, they're negative, right? They're like, oh, this, oh, the economy, oh, this, oh, that. You don't have to be that way. You choose how your day goes. And there's no reason that you have to have a bad day. And I talk to people in my family. They go, oh man, I've had such a bad day. This person did that person did that, whatever. I say, why does that matter? Well, why does that matter? Why does it really matter? You begin to, as you develop mindset and you really think about what matters, what not, your perspective is so important on your life. And that perspective allows you to really focus on, what is it that I'm trying to do? And if I'm trying to grow a business, if I'm trying to be better in my life, the things that are not relevant fall out of the way. And if someone walks up to me on the street now and they say something rude to me, I say something nice. Because you know what? I'm going to be nice. It's my choice to be nice. How someone else is, that's their deal. I don't care. I mean, I wish it were better. But this mindset we talk about, and you hear people talk about positive mindset. Got to have positive mindset. Well, positive mindset helps. There's no doubt about it. You got to think you're going to be able to do it, because everything's created in our mind before we actually do it and make it happen, right?
Yeah.
But we really need to look at how we think about how our mind works. I come back inside of our minds again, because it is so key to be able to take this problem and put it in the right place and work on it at the right time and give it the right attention when it needs it and not when it doesn't. Because if you don't learn how to control your mind, it will control you. You'll be sitting there with your family, but you'll be worrying about something else that really doesn't deserve your attention when your family does. You're going to be in a business meeting and you're going to be your mind is going to be wandering off at something else when your attention should be there. You're also going to your mind will do things to you if you don't think that you can do something, or you are questioning whether you can do something. Your mind's going to start to protect you. All these little things is going to start to move, and you're going to move away from the place that you could very well need to go, because your mind is trying to protect you subconsciously, subliminally. You don't even know it's happening. And this is why I when I think about mindset, I'd really talk about study and learn how your mind works, and then begin to see the patterns in yourself. Reflect on the decisions you made, on the way you acted, and then realize that it doesn't have to be that way. You can change it. And it's been an amazing, and I've talked a lot. It's just amazing for me to really understand how you can shift your mindset and how it will change your life. I can't remember the last time I had a bad day. And that's in several years.
That's excellent.
Yeah. My father passed away during that time. I've had significant other disappointments, right? There's other things that happen. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to have a bad day. It means I'm going to have challenges in the day, and that is life. Life has challenges, ups and downs. And for all the days that there were challenges, it still doesn't mean I went to bed going, oh, woe is me, or anything like that. It's just like, this is a challenge in life that we're dealing with. I need to put my best foot forward and do what I can. And that's really how my mindset has changed the way I live my life, because I know at the end of the day that if I'm taking the right actions, and I'm doing the right things, and I'm doing enough of the right things, good things will happen. The right things will happen. And you got to let the how am I going to do it out of your mind. Just let that, because it'll come.
That's a tough one too.
Oh yeah, it is. It's very tough, because I went to school for engineering. I'm supposed to figure out mathematically how this stuff works, and how why you design something the way it is. And when you think about this, you think about in business, we need to really visualize our success, and then trust that God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is going to bring the things to us as we need it to be. And trust it 100%. And then even in the worst days, trust it. Because if we don't, our mind acts differently. Our mind will begin to protect us. And I do that with the little quotation marks in the air, because it's really not protecting us. It's trying to protect us, doing the best it can, but it moves us away from the risks that we need to take to get where we want to be.
I'm going to jump in. And that's all very powerful. And we both know that we liked Dr. Wayne Dyer. He's passed away. He actually passed away on the anniversary of the date he forgave his father. Did you know that? I read that
No.
book. I didn't know that for years. And it was such a privilege that I met him probably about 10, 11 years ago down in Fort Lauderdale. It was a writing course, Writing for the Soul. How did you come to know or hear about Dr. Wayne Dyer, and how has his teachings impacted your mindset?
Well, I first, I believe Thane Isaacs, a friend of mine, told me about it. Said, you should read. And I read Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Thoughts, and It'll Change Your Life, or something like that. Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. I don't know the exact title. I read the book like 4 times. And I remember reading it because he talks about the Tao, and he talks about the whatever, there's however many verses, I forget now, but all the verses of Tao. And I was like, wow. And the way he talks about it, and he doesn't talk about it in a church-like manner or a non-church-like manner, but in a spiritual manner. And to me, my spiritual journey has really been, I grew up a Catholic, and I have since not attended the Catholic Church a whole lot because of some of I just don't believe that man is really my in the conduit between me and the Lord. And I don't know, I might be wrong, but I'm gonna take that chance. But when I was reading that book, it was like, it felt like that spirituality was being transmitted to me through that book.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds weird, but it was. And listening to it, and the more I read it, and the more I thought about it and contemplated on it and read more, I was like, man, this guy has taken enough time, and he's studied enough people, and studied enough of the teachings, old, new, whatever. He knows far more than I'm ever going to know. And I just need to soak it in. And that's what I really remember the most about it. I remember telling my brother, I was like, listen, he's very spiritual. And I said, you just need to read this book. You need to read this book because it's powerful. And I said, and it's not, this religion, that religion. I said, it's about the essence of God, I believe. And he was moved by it as well. And that really started me off. And then when you start to listen about the other books, like Excuses Be Gone, or some of these other ones that he's really done, you just realize by listening to Dr. Dyer talk about the mind and how it works, it just starts clicking in place, right? The things that we do to ourselves over our life without even realizing it, we don't even know. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I am a negative outcome person. I don't even know the right way to say it, right? I'm going to think of the outcome, right? Oh man, it's going to be bad, right? And that's hard to break. Now I'm getting better at it because I can tell myself, oh, bunk on that, dude. Look at the 6 other things when that wasn't as bad as you thought about last time. First of all, that's the other thing, is we, in our mind, we make up these huge mountains, but when we get into real life, they're usually little bumps. And Dr. Dyer talks about that a lot, and how we inflate these things and what we need to do to help our minds work through these things. And it's amazing, the understanding. And I know I sound like I might be babbling. It's just so powerful when you really begin to study and how that mindset affects your life so much. I mean, just like with my family. I mean, I grew up for a long time working in businesses thinking that, I'm a CEO of a company. I'm probably going to be divorced a few times just because that's the way it was, right? That's BS. That's BS. I've since learned you can, and people do it. Many people do it. Live great family lives, have very good professional lives. Same level that I ever achieved in my professional career working for companies, with no trouble like that. because there's a different way that your mind is working with you, and your mind is working with you again instead of against you. And when you put those intentions in play, they happen. They happen, whether you want to succeed, whether you think you can climb that mountain, whether you think that you're gonna be able to run a race or something. It just, your mind does a million little things without you knowing it, that's going to take you there. That's really what I've learned the most in talking to my mindset. So when you take this into a business environment, if you truly don't think that you're going to succeed, or think that you're even in think that you, I just don't know, think that you're going to succeed, and then believe in it enough to allow the things to come to you that are going to make you succeed. And I mean, from being a good leader to being a good, successful in business, to be able to go, okay, this opportunity is coming up. We don't want to run away from it because it feels right to me right now. It came in front of us today. Or the situation with people here is you just have to be open to what comes to you. And one of the things that Dr. Dyer said in a recent thing I read is you want to become at oneness with everything. And it is, and another thing that is coming from a place of love. I think the two things are kind of the same, but I didn't realize in business how you can come from that same place and be very successful, because it just doesn't seem like you can, but you can.
If I can jump in, when you talk about love, that's so important that you brought that up. Is most people don't talk about love. They think that love has no business being in business.
Yeah.
You're saying it does.
Yeah. Oh, it does. 100%. 100%. Because we talk about we shouldn't bring our personal lives to work and that or take our work home, all that kind of, it's BS, right? It's all BS. That's all BS. We're one person. And when you come to work, there are people that you're going to work with an awful long time, and you're going to develop relationships. They're your friends, and you spend more time with them than you do some of your family. They're people that, when they know that you truly do care for them, it's a different type of business relationship. It's one where you're going to do things for them and they're going to do things for you that will help both of you more than you ever would if you didn't have that relationship. It's the same thing that I do. I hug my wife differently today than I did 10 years ago, because I want her to feel how I love her. Not just hug. I want her to feel it from me. And it makes a difference.
I know it makes
same thing in business.
Yes.
People need to feel how you care. And I know, yeah, you can say whatever about that, but it makes a difference.
Let's say you've been highly successful, and to the listeners, the companies that Damon has worked with are, multi-millionaire companies. These aren't little small companies. Damon, walk me through fear. Walk me through fear when people feel fear and the mindset that you suggest.
Fear. Yeah. First of all, your mind is significantly expanding what you're thinking about. Break it down into what it really is. It's your mind against trying to protect you. And that's great. Your mind, if we're still being chased by lions or whatever, that's great. But in most cases, fear is just you're uncomfortable doing what you really need to do. And sometimes you just have to take that step. And yeah, I'm not saying, take something that's drastically life altering and unless it's really what you need to do. But fear is normal. Risk is normal. We think that we're not going to walk through the day afraid about something or afraid of the risk. It's there, whether we like it or not.
And I'm glad you said that fear is normal, because when people are out there are saying be fearless, as a life coach, been a life coach 10 years. I get kind of upset. To tell people to be fearless is tell them, not to be a human being, because we are human beings, spiritual people, they're human beings. And I believe we get to choose every day to be empowered or disempowered. Your thoughts?
Yeah, we really do. Again, comes back to choosing that day, but choosing how you're going to move in the face of fear, right? Because if you've connected with your why deeply enough, your fear is going to pale to your why, and your why will help you go beyond that fear you have of doing whatever you need to do, whether it's having that difficult conversation, whether it's taking that step, out onto a stage that you've never done before, whether it's, getting on a podcast and doing it, or a radio show and doing it. It's that fear is there, whether you do it or not. And once you get into it, again, Thane Isaac talks about public speaking. He does a lot of it. And he said, everybody that does public speaking the first few times, you're afraid because of what everyone's thinking about you. You know what that whole audience is thinking about? They're thinking about what they had for lunch. They're thinking about they got to get their kid home for school. They're thinking about, and if they're thinking anything about you on stage, it's like, boy, I wouldn't want to be up there because I couldn't do that in front of all these people. They must be pretty brave. That's what they really are thinking. Either you don't care, or, and he said, even if there is someone in that room that says, oh, he's got the wrong shoes on or whatever, who cares? Everybody's got an opinion, and the fears that we inflate in our mind is like, everybody's eyes are on me. Oh, did my presentation, whatever. Again, when you think of that public speaking, who are the people that speak in public? They're the people that you can feel what they're talking about. You feel their passion in what they talk about. Do they have the clearest voice? Don't have to. Do they have to have the best clothes? No, they don't have to. I mean, how many speakers have you seen that yeah, they're not Tony Robbins, it's not something like that. They're people that really care about what they're talking about, and the standing ovations that they get, it's because they connect with people. They feel whatever that is. So your fear can be overcome by your why. You just have to let it help you. And one other thing about fear, it said, I was reading the book. It's funny you're asking about this. Reading the book this morning, it was talking about, you have to let the fear of regret, if you don't do something, overcome your fear of doing something.
That is perfect. I don't think I could say that better. We're down to our last minute. And if anybody wants to reach out to you, what kind of contact information would you like to provide to our listeners?
Well, they can find me on LinkedIn. It's usually the easiest place. Damon Pistulka. There's only one of me in the world.
And we'll spell it Pistulka. Yes.
That is correct.
On LinkedIn. I'm glad to get to know you better, Damon. Thank you so much for sharing your story of success. And I know there's somebody out there that needed to hear your message today, probably more than one person. So thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Dawn.
And everyone, I'm coming from WPVM FM 103.7, the voice of Asheville, syndicated. So wherever you are in this world, stay empowered. We'll see you next time.